on the radio. Either way, what a busy, fun weekend, huh, buddy? That was a good time. Florida State baseball is where we're going to begin, because what a resounding response for a group that had been overwhelmed by dominant Florida pitching earlier in the week. Florida State figured to travel up to Winston-Salem and deal with a pitching staff that had power arms as well. And I asked the question during the week, would this be sobering or not? Would they respond? Didn't like the looks on the faces of so many of our offensive players in that game against Florida, that beguiled, overwhelmed, blown past sort of look that led to all of those strikeouts. And I wondered, would the adjustment come in time to go up and handle Wake Forest pitching, which you wouldn't know it by the weekend's results, is expected to be one of the best pitching staffs in the ACC. Well, that first game was a resounding FU, Jeff. We will respond, and did going away. Run ruled that ass. What a way to start. Power, really good ABs, dominant pitching performance from Wes Mendes, and you couldn't have known it, but you were going to get an even better pitching performance the next day. And what was a change-up festival. Florida State did struggle to score runs in the second game, the Saturday game. That's the starter I highlighted earlier in the week. He was good. Ours was better. Beard went absolutely ballistic, dominated the game, so the bats didn't have to come alive, did just enough to get a 2-0 victory. And then yesterday, back with the whooping sticks. Glorious to watch. I like that lineup, by the way. Dowd, Putnam, Bailey, DeLamiere, Paulino. Looks like we got a new catcher in Nathan Schmale, everybody. Woo! That'll hurt your feelings. You go from being a starter with high expectations to Nathan Schmale has taken your job resoundingly. Will Bavaro seems to have settled in nice at third as well. Baseball's a funny game. Cal Fisher and John Stutzer. And Stutzer with the grand slam. Park-aided. But it's a grand slam nonetheless. We didn't build the walls. We weren't the ones who made it a child's park. Did take advantage of it, though. And Bryson Moore was good. It's good to see Bryson Moore starting to get more comfortable. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 7 Ks, just 1 run. Took him out at 81 pitches. We knew earlier in the year, I mentioned that he was going to have to be built up more over time. It was going to take a little while. He wasn't going to be asked to throw a ton of pitches. But 5 2/3 and 81 pitches with 7 Ks and just 1 run will work. I'll take that every day. And so Florida State goes on the road and sweeps Wake Forest with a little 24-6 for that ass. That'll hurt your feelings. If you're Wake Forest, and I saw these games and thought their fans would be pumped to welcome in Florida State, a good test. You know, they were excited, ranked on ranked. Let's host it. Grand opening, grand closing. We've been on the wrong end of that before. It's rare, but it does happen, and watching it happen to Wake is fun when we're the ones delivering.
Yeah, I can recall last year, remember the North Carolina series when they came down?
Mm-hmm.
And we were good. It's not like we were terrible, but you just saw that North Carolina was quite good.
Really good, yeah.
We
kind of walked out of there going, oh.
I appreciate what they do up there in North Carolina. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we did. That was funny. That series was a perfectly played series by North Carolina, if you remember. Like, they did everything right. Yeah.
Detailed. Yeah. You just walked away admiring what they are. And I think that's what the fastest growing fan base in the nation in Wake Forest did this weekend. They said, well, we have to admire what Florida State is.
Bend over and stretch a little bit more, because goodness gracious, that was a throttling. 24-6 will work. Good on you, Knowles. A lot of fun to watch. That was just part of the weekend that was. WBC was riveting. Sawgrass was awesome. And never mind the fact that conference tournaments ended and we know what the field looks like. Did you race out and fill out your bracket, Tom? Bet you didn't.
You are correct. I do want to do one this year. I didn't have one, not a single bracket last year. I do want to jump back into the kiddie pool. I don't need to get 10 of them done, jump into a bunch of pools, but I want to do at least one this year.
You have to do a pool, Tom.
I did not do one last year.
It's the law. Don't admit to breaking the law on the air last year, sir. Just go ahead and do your due diligence here and make sure you get one in. We'll pretend that didn't happen. We'll just overlook it.
I didn't really miss it, but I kind of want to, because I saw some more games this weekend.
Oh, so you may be taking in 5 college games this year?
I think 5 non-Florida State college games this year. Probably in the aggregate, about 7 minutes here, 22 minutes there. They'll add up over time. But I feel like I'm an expert on the subject, yes.
Okay. Well, I will fill out my brackets as the week progresses, obviously, and we'll do one today, one tonight, maybe one tomorrow morning.
You're getting after it. Well, this is the fruits of your labor. You worked very hard this year for this moment. I
watched a lot of college basketball this year. I did. More than I have in the last couple of years. I thought it was a pretty good product this year. I did not think that last year or the year before. College basketball is fickle that way. Very weird. So kind of a weird sport that ebbs and flows oddly. There are years where you take in a bunch of games and you're like, this is ass. This is not good. These guys can't shoot a lick. It's hard to watch. And then there are years where the frontline teams, and this is not a year where you get a ton of mid-majors that can have an effect on the tournament in such a way where you're going to get 6 and 7 Cinderellas. It might happen. It's a tournament, and because it's truncated, you never really know. Somebody could go crazy. But in terms of quality of play and the amount of those teams that are candidates for something like that, not a lot to choose from this year. This is kind of a chalky tournament in the making. Now, as soon as I say that, upsets galore. It's the tournament. It is madness. It is fun, and we all love it because of it. So maybe, and I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see a real shakeup in any of these brackets, but just judging by the totality of what you took in this year, it was a sorry bubble. You didn't get a lot of those fun moments, and the dominant teams are the dominant teams, and I think they're probably the ones that are going to make hay the most.
Well, as the resident expert of the college basketball here on the show, because I've just consumed so much of it, it does seem like, and it seriously does seem like from afar, that if you're a top 4 finisher in the power conferences, all of those teams have a chance. There might be a separation that is a little bit higher with greater consistency, and like if you're Florida or Arizona or Michigan or whatever, or Duke, if Duke is healthy. But it doesn't seem like they're untouchable, because I recall you saying maybe a couple months ago that the way the college basketball season was shaping up, there are a lot of teams that could win, like a lot of teams that could go far in the tournament. It doesn't sound like that might be the bubble line or the Cinderellas, right, but it sounds like if you're one of the upper half, the upper third teams in a conference, like the Big Ten or the SEC or even the ACC, you might have a shot. Like Virginia would have a shot. If Miami hits threes with any degree of any consistency whatsoever, they would have a shot.
They got screwed. You gave Miami, I think Miami's the 7th seed, and they're getting sent to St. Louis against Missouri. What are we doing? You're going to reward the 10 seed? What was that? I mean, screw Miami. I don't care, but that's kind of
that's like when we got sent to Hartford to play Vermont.
What are we doing?
Oh, Hartford, huh? All right.
They pretty well screwed them. I don't know, Tom. I would tell you of the teams that I've seen a lot of, Arizona can win it. Michigan can win it. Duke can win it. Michigan State, if they got hot, has a chance to win it. Doubtful. Florida can certainly win it, unfortunately. Florida, by the way, did the smart thing. For the Gator listeners, here you go. And I have a lot of them, oddly. But I will tell you, getting housed by Vandy shouldn't concern you. That's what you needed to do. There was no reason for you to win the SEC tournament. Just get your rest. You're a 1. You're good. Well, UConn lost anyhow, so you got the 1 anyhow. But you don't need to win that game. I'm sure some Florida fans are like, we didn't play all that well against Kentucky, and then we just got stomped by Vandy. I wonder if we're going to did we peak at the wrong time? Nah, you could, man. Conference tournaments don't matter when you have a season like they had. You're good. Take your loss and take it on down the road. Get out of there. Let Arkansas win the SEC tournament.
Duke should have taken that advice last week and tried a little bit less. It's unfortunate because you see the way the bracket unfolds and that you'd have Clemson and Virginia as the path beyond the Duke game. That's as gettable as an ACC tournament title would be. That's the perfect path for us.
I'm going to argue that had we beat Duke, if that shot falls, we're going to win the ACC tournament. I believe that's true.
You're going to beat Clemson.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to beat Virginia. You're going to win the game.
Yeah.
No, we'll never know, and it's a ultimate homer thing for me to say, but I really believe if they had beaten Duke, they were going to win the ACC tournament. Because of that path, the way it worked out, I think they would have. Yeah. Damn it, man. And on that note, they decided not to play in the NIT. I do know I've had conversations. The coaches were all for playing, but they put it to a team vote, and the players opted out. Now, remember, that's a senior-laden team. A lot of guys trying to prep themselves for the next level, trying to go play professionally, whether that's overseas or maybe there's an outside chance one of these guys will go to the NBA. But for the most part, they're all trying to play pro sports, pro basketball across the seas, across the ocean. So I get it. Some of them need procedures. Some of them have to get prepped, and it's what it is. But
so there was some health stuff.
There's some health stuff
in some cases.
In some cases, there was some health stuff. So they opted not to do it. I think if it were a lot younger, I think if the team were a lot younger, if this was like a sophomore-led team, a couple juniors and a couple sophomores that really led the team, I think they would have chose to keep playing. But it's a senior-led team. They're all going their separate ways, and they let the players vote on it. It's like I know for a fact Luke wanted to play in the NIT, but he opted to let the players vote, and he's going to honor that. So that's fine. I mean, that's their choice. It's not that important to play in the NIT. I think selfishly, we both just would have liked to have seen them play. I think this fan base likes that team an awful lot, and there was a lot to like about them.
Yeah, I'm hurt. And I don't mean that I don't mean that I'm offended. I just mean I'm hurt. I really wanted to see them again. I really took a shine to I think we all did. We all did.
Yeah. By the way, Houston could win it. I left them out on my list of teams.
It's very important. I'm glad that Houston.
I felt bad. I was just going back through the bracket.
Houston.
I was going back through the bracket.
Your broke-ass NIL that your coach complains about. I'm sorry about that.
I realized Houston could win it all, too.
Since that Houston game, well, probably about 3 weeks after the Houston game, we all took a shine to this basketball team and this program. That's the weird spot is it's a young program but a veteran team. And so for the reason that those two things are different, they wanted to break apart. And that was it. And the final shot by McCray was it. That's sad, but it's a group that I'm not going to look any differently at them because of this decision. As we go back in time, we talk about some of the lovable years that you didn't achieve anything in Florida State sports. And I hope we don't have too many more of those, but it feels like we might. 2010 Florida State football will always be right there for me.
You love that team.
I love the hell. Well, I mean, it was the lost decade. We were starving, and that team had something to them. They had something to them.
Little moxie.
Didn't win the ACC. They beat the rivals. That was the thing that they did, and they did well. This group's going to be like that. I love this team. I'm going to miss them. They were really tough, and you look at that bracket right now, and you say, you go in each quadrant and say, could Florida State beat this team? Yeah. Could they? Absolutely. Should they? Maybe
so.
You
can absolutely do that. Yeah.
Luke was not wrong to say that I don't know that there are 20 or 25 teams playing better basketball than we are right now when he was at the dais in the ACC tournament. He's absolutely correct.
And he's not afraid to say whatever it is he's thinking. And I appreciate that as well. He's had a fun year. It's been an enjoyable watch to see him mature along with his team and the way that they pivoted. This will be very interesting to see how they do in the portal. What can they get from a veteran standpoint to infuse this lineup with some experience and size and strength? Obviously, they got to get front court help badly. The players coming in, we've championed it. It is a haul. It is a hell of a haul. To get the class that he's bringing in is stunning for Florida State. We're talking about a top 10 class in basketball at Florida State. Hell, Mike Norvell can't get a top 10 class in college football at Florida State. But our guy comes in year one and is doing it in basketball. That's a minor miracle given how little money they have to work with. But in modern basketball, where it is a veteran-laden affair and everybody is a hired gun from somewhere else that's already played 4 and 5 years of basketball, you're not going to go very far, even with that talent, as young as they are. You're going to have to infuse this with some portal guys that are veteran players, thicker, stronger, bigger guys that have been around the game.
And it doesn't feel as though this is Tamper Central where you already know who's coming in. Basketball has so many variables. There are so many programs across the country where you can go poach a player. Decisions to be made about players coming back or going overseas.
Yeah.
It's not like the NFL where you're locked in for 3 years before you could even go professional. And college football, the relationship to it. So I don't think they have their answers in-house yet, but just something to bookmark. Between now and then, there are going to be reports of people entering the portal and all that. That's the way this works. April 7th is the date that the portal opens for hoops. April 7th runs for 2 weeks.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
It is right around the corner. I will be paying close attention to that. Speaking of college basketball, you remember Aiden Holloway when we played Alabama in the exhibition game? The kid for Alabama? He did something that's old school, very old school. I miss this terribly. He got arrested for selling weed. Who gets arrested for selling weed anymore? That's crazy.
Alabama has strict laws against it or some such thing?
I'll tell you, he was arrested on a felony drug charge 4 days before they're set to play in the NCAA tournament. That's less than ideal. It is a felony. So who gets arrested for selling weed? It's legal. What are you doing? My man. Oh, that's a good old-fashioned arrest. Those are the ones that used to lead to, those are my cousin's drugs, or like you would get the quotes. I always loved the quotes. It wasn't mine. It was in the glove box. I just borrowed the car. Those were always my favorite.
It wasn't Montrell. It was Ron Trell.
Yeah.
We just call him Trell.
Yeah, I always would laugh. But Tuscaloosa County Police spokesperson Stephanie Taylor said that Holloway was arrested very late on Monday morning, transported to the county jail in West Alabama by the Narcotics Task Force. They recovered more than a pound of weed, paraphernalia, and cash. I don't know, man.
Boy.
I don't remember when Matt Millar was the producer. I would have to embarrass him by asking him how much weed. Like, you have to show me the baggie. Like, tell me how much that is.
That segment could be so much more out in the open now.
I know. Back then, for those of you that don't know,
very cloak and dagger at the time.
I had a producer named Matt Millar way back in the day, and he may have been fond of smoking marijuana. Just might have been his thing. And I never really bought marijuana on the streets per se, right? But he did. And so I would always say when I'd read a report, oh, they caught him with a half an ounce. What's that look like in a baggie, Matt? And he would sheepishly like, well, Jeff, that's going to look like this. And he would hold up. Yeah, he'd give me the.
Well, there was no video back in the day either. So, he could just give you the indication.
So I missed that.
He was either in law enforcement himself or Willie Nelson. One of the two.
He and Snoop.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, man, it was. I missed that. And so when I read this story this morning, I started cracking up. I was like, Mar, what's a pound of marijuana look like in a little baggie? What are we doing? I think he's on vacation for spring break, so he's probably not hearing this. Yeah.
He's not here, or else there would be a text already.
Oh, I'm sure there would be. He'd send a picture or something.
Pound of weed. That doesn't feel like a lot these days. But you're right. Back in the day when...
That was a common offense.
When you said way back he was the producer, that kind of hurt my soul.
Well,
because it has been 14 years.
Yeah, you've been producing the show for 14 years.
Crazy.
So Dina Davis was my original producer. That lasted about a year. And then Matt Millar took over. And then it's you.
It's crazy.
And you...
I was doing assistant work with him 17 years ago. So, yeah, it'll be 17 years this May.
We'll see what happens, by the way, on a serious note with Holloway. He's averaging 17 points a game. He's their second leading scorer. He's really effing good. That's a problem. If I were Alabama, I'd ignore this. He'd start. I'm just letting you go right now. I'm like, hey, it'll be all right. Coach, no thoughts. It'll work out. We'll let the court system do with it what it's.
Who do they have for their first round opponent? Do you know? It's probably
I have to look. I didn't.
Probably like San Jose State or something like that. But you could say
suspend him for the first half of the San Jose State.
No, you just sell shirts that say "Pound San Jose State," and then there you go. Call attention to it.
Well played.
Lean in.
Well played. Did you watch World Baseball Classic last night?
I watched the World Baseball Classic.
All of it?
Every pitch.
It was riveting.
Thank God the Dominicans can't run the bases.
Well,
yes.
I would say thank goodness robot umps aren't here.
Yeah.
Because that's ball 4 more than once.
I mean, Soto had it.
Soto got right.
Screw him. He's on the wrong team, but he got it right. And then that last one that reminded me of Rays Rangers years ago. Remember, it was a walk-off strikeout. game-ending strikeout.
You're like, come on, man.
And the guy goes, that can't happen, is what the booth said for the Rays radio network.
It can't. I mean, that's obviously I wanted to win, and there's no guarantee we wouldn't have won, even if that was ball 4, but it would have created a problem because Fernando Tatis would have been coming up with runners at first and third.
And that's the best place for him because it's certainly not on first base. He has no idea what to do when he's standing on first base. Other than steal second, if the ball's in play, he has the awareness of, I don't even know what.
Yeah.
Awful.
I like Mason Miller a lot, but shortstop Geraldo Perdomo has every right to be very pissed. I mean, come on, man.
They handle that like pros from the top on down. Albert Pujols was great. Perdomo said that wasn't what cost us the game. We need to be better. Like, wow.
There was by the way, the GM, Nelson Cruz.
Yes, he did as well. Yes.
He said, well, we lost by inches. Hey, look, in a few years we'll have ABS, but then you can challenge plays, but we didn't, and this is a great event for baseball. He went on to say, you can see how the fans love this game, and you have people who oftentimes don't even pay attention to baseball watching this, so it was good for baseball. It's not why we lost. It's a shame that it happened, but it's just part of it. I was like, man, that's as good an answer as you could possibly give.
I didn't expect that. Because, I mean, for what the stakes are, what it means to that team, it's not just the fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans are nuts, but the team really wanted that, and they were pretty good about it.
You realize how big a star Roman Anthony's going to be, man? I mean, this has been – the WBC has been a coming-out party for that kid, and he got hurt last year, but he's a real dude.
It was a good job to push the button on Gunnar last night as well at third base. That made a difference.
I think if you're a Red Sox fan, you got a dude in Roman Anthony.
What a name, too.
Roman Anthony is as good a name as you could possibly have in the sport. Yeah. He's really good.
Well, and the Japan-Venezuela game on Saturday was unbelievable.
Too. Yeah, it was really, really good. It was a great weekend. Great weekend.
And you got one tonight. You got Venezuela versus Staten Island. That'll be very good.
I'll be watching. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests,
And a greener lawn, too.
call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Real quick, back to basketball for a second. Jeff, what do you think they need? I think 2 bigs and a point guard, says Tony. Yeah, you were on the same page here as far as those bigs go for sure. I know they got to get some frontline help. There's no doubt about that. And I know they're hell-bent on doing just that. So be ready to start hearing some names in terms of their interests. And I'm eager to see how they tackle this. You know, they've surprised us around every turn with what they've been able to do in recruiting. I mean, we're all well aware of the restrictions when it comes to the budget for Florida State basketball. So, you know, I'm done second guessing whether or not they can get a kid based on money. They've gotten what is akin now to 5 yeses that you would not have been able to afford if it was solely about the money. So the pitch is working. The process, the methodologies that they're using in recruiting has worked. I think it's that he's able to clearly and concisely explain to players the way he views them and how he'll get them ready for the next level to make them more money down the line. So you take less in the interim to make more down the line to help prepare them for professional basketball. Professional basketball can be Europe, could be anywhere. But I think clearly it's resonating with players, but moreover, it's resonating with player agents because these agents are steering kids. We all know this. This is where Florida State's misstep in football really cost them, is not having a good reputation amongst agents for being willing to spend above and beyond your rev share number and then projecting well in advance the kinds of players you want to bring in and starting the dialogue before it becomes officially open season. That won't be the case here. Florida State in basketball right now, Luke Laux and his staff clearly have good relationships in the agent world for basketball because they're getting a lot of kids who have a lot of opportunity to listen to their pitch.
Well, I think what you've already done is if you've got a player who's mid-major quality that you think can take the next step, you've already created yourself as a destination, like at the bare minimum. Like the high school relationships, that's coming up in the world on its own. So you're going to get better players, higher quality players to at least take your phone call and take a look at you. But if you're a prospect who has been a project or is a late bloomer and you're looking for a place to go to continue your development, they've already done that. I mean, you can see what they've done with McCray and Wiggins and Lejay. I mean, it goes up and down the list of what they can do to make you a better basketball player. Because if you turn on the tape of our first 5 games and then the last 5 games, what a difference. So the pool is a big one that you're drawing from. You still want to have the money to go get premier players, but I think they've already created that for themselves as a development place. But then you're right, within the agent and the money community, they're also, their reputation is in good standing. They've got good credit. So people are going to take a listen to them. I think if you could get at least one Alex Steen clone for next year's team that would help you. And then you probably need somebody who's a little bit larger as a post presence on top of that.
You do.
But if you can get those two things, like find whoever Steen's clone is, because there were some programs, some big programs that were interested in him, but I doubt he was very expensive. You could probably find somebody who profiles very similarly to Alex to help with next year's roster.
We will get to figure out who it is they're targeting and learn who they're going to get yeses from pretty quickly. I do like that like you said, it's April, so we're going to know this month exactly who they're going after, and I'll try to stay on that case as well and get stuff out there. Lasser's connected really well as well to this program, just so you know. Warchant's Matt Lasser, who works with us, it goes to a lot of those practices. I obviously have a good relationship with that staff, so I'm able to reach out to them as well. So we'll keep you abreast of what they're doing. I've really enjoyed, professionally, kind of getting to know those guys and their willingness to really kind of shine a light on what they're trying to accomplish and the obstacles and the successes and everything in between. It's just so refreshing. They have not been reticent at all about answering tough questions after bad games and questions about the future and questions about their reality and what they're up against and where they're succeeding and failing. And so they've been an open book, which is good. It gives us a chance to give you context and actual, facts on the air about what's happening with the program. So we'll continue to do that. Back to baseball for a second. Do you think it hurt D1 baseball's feelings to have to write in number 11?
I'm sure it did.
When they were like filling it out over the weekend after we swept, like, oh God, Tony, I mean, we got to move them up. We don't have to, guys. We don't have to.
Surely there's an SEC team that has 9 losses that we can find and put into the 11th spot, right? Ahead of Florida State. Can we do that?
So Florida State does move up to number 11 in D1 baseball after a disastrous start to the week where they got shut down and dominated by Florida pitching. They turned around and answered any question, as I said in the opener, resoundingly, and bounced back. They get a couple of shutouts to boot. And, that's the thing. Mendes looked great. I would not have thought that we'd get an even better performance the next day because of how good Mendes was. I didn't think Beard would come out and top that, but he did. He was remarkable. On that night, Abraham comes in. And so, they got right now some good things going with their starting pitching.
Well, you needed it, obviously, because there's more pressure on all of those pitches on Saturday.
Yeah, the 2-0 game, yeah.
And when they were going to Abraham, we might have been around each other for that game. And I said, well, you better use him because we capped him off on Tuesday.
35 pitches on Tuesday.
You better use his ass.
Yeah.
And they did, and it was in a high-leverage spot. It wasn't in a nothing spot, and you got what you needed. So, 16 straight innings to start the series in terms of the shutouts, and then only 1 earned run between your 3 starters for the entire weekend, which is fantastic.
Well, and if they could have just pitched around the one kid for Wake, who was the only guy who did anything, they might have not given up anything. I mean, that guy, he's looking at his teammates like, fellas, we're playing a series. It counts. It's conference play. Anybody else going to come along for the ride? Am I the only dude out here who's ready to go? Because he was good. Everybody else, we pretty much shut down, so that was a joy. It was actually a play made by Fisher yesterday that I think is the best play he's ever made defensively. Best play. It was the bare hand charge. That play is a tough ass play.
So we've gone from tough love Cameron to all love Cameron for Cal.
No, he's still. I mean, I need him to hit for more power. I'd like to see a little bit more than just the consistent singles. So but. It was a hell of a play. He needed to have a stretch where he started hitting well. I mean, obviously, when you start the year as the protection for Miles Bailey, and then a couple weeks later you're hitting 9, that's toughie. 24-6 in the sweep. 24-6. There's no way I would have predicted anything close to that going into Wake. But Minkiewicz reached out, former Seminole great and MLB, and was tweeting back at me when I talked about it was a hell of a response. And he was like, yeah, young teams, though, this is what can happen. Young teams get better as they play and they learn, they go through experience and these things. He's right. Absolutely. You just don't know the pace that's going to happen. You're going to have these results where you're kind of, that was a little wonky. And then turn around, guys learn from it. They certainly mean, you think about the first game when you come out and beat somebody in their place, fresh off the heels of the disappointment that you had. You beat them 10-0. That's a response. That is a response.
And what you got this week are 4 games at home. Bethune-Cookman tomorrow night, 6 p.m. That's going to be a chilly Hauser Stadium because of the front that's pushing through.
3 games set against NC State this weekend.
NC State this weekend. So a good test. But yes, and the weather will be normalized. It will be spring-ish this weekend. But tomorrow it's going to be a little blustery out there.
Oh, yeah? We get a little chilly weather?
Yeah, the high tomorrow is only 55, 56 degrees.
Spring break, man. I'm trying to play golf. What are we doing out here?
A little chill in the air for St. Patrick's Day. It'll feel like Rockaway. It's all good.
Pitchy Petty Pools and Spas has everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they got it. They also have the cold plunge tubs now. If you go over to off of Greer Road, you'll see an amazing showcase of hot tubs. It's the best in the business. We're talking about Hot Springs hot tubs, premium Hot Springs hot tubs. Pitchy Petty Pools and Spas will remove your old one, too. If it's dilapidated, needs to be pulled out of there, they'll give you some money towards your new one. Pick it up. Deliver the new, replace the old. It's all good. Pitch Petty Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how.
Your local news now.
City of Tallahassee line workers took home top honors. You must be a first-time home buyer and willing to move into new construction south of the state capitol building. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 71 this afternoon under overcast skies with a chance of rain showers. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows around 35 tonight, mainly clear skies. High temperatures reach up to 56 tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 68.
Real Talk 93.3 and the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce welcome this month's newest chamber members. Businesses making a difference here in Tallahassee. Adaption Inc., Advanced Air Care Heating and Cooling LLC, Better Together, Citywide Gulf Coast, Direct Auto Insurance, Embolden Consulting, Foundational Leadership LLC, and Insure It All. Thank you for growing local with the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. To find out more, visit talchamber.com.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, by the way, really quick, back to Sawgrass, I just wanted to point out that I didn't realize that the 54-hole leader, something like 3 of the last 17 times closed it out at Sawgrass. It is a hard place to close it out as a leader going into the final day.
So under 20% proposition.
Staggering how many people have blown 3, 4, 5, 6 shots leads around there. And I was kind of chuckling because you always know, the moment it's happening for somebody, and where you're like, oh, their brain decided to pull the ripcord. Poor Michael Thorbjornsson, and he's right there playing with his countrymen, and on hole number 4, he throws up a snowman. We're like, well, that'll be it. Thanks a lot for playing. It'll be easy around here.
Hey, I'm telling you, I remember years ago, it was a rainy early start, I think, to the final round, and the final pairing was John Rahm and Tommy Fleetwood, and both of them on the first tee. They're in the final pairing, never won anything, and Tommy just now did recently. And they both looked like they were ready to vomit on the spot, like pea green faces. They were so nervous for the stage, and both of their tee shots were not even close.
Good job, Chuck. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate your knowledge in stats and input. 54-hole leaders are 16 of 44 at Sawgrass, but had been 8 for 14 with a multi-shot lead. I didn't see the multi-shot stat. Okay. Well, that's still 16 for 44.
I mean, yeah, usually it's
tough.
I mean, it's a 3-shot advantage, and Ludwig didn't even play that well on Saturday.
So well, he had a chance to push it to 5 if he had made his birdie putts.
Correct, but that front nine, he was all over the place on Saturday, and so you think, oh, okay, so he's gotten around his rough patch, and no, he did not.
I love that guy, and this tournament made me like him even more. His post round after that collapse, which it clearly was as good as it gets. He handled that as well as anybody could.
Yeah, the 11th is a problem, but it's not the deal breaker.
Right.
Because Rahm's had a deal breaker at 11, to the aforementioned. That was where he and his caddy had the famous
discussion, yes.
And the caddy was berating him,
yeah.
And it was nasty. It was the T-ball on 12 for Ludwig that signaled the end. That was good night.
Well, his quote, he talked about this. I like players who, now sometimes it can be an indicator that they're always going to have a block in their brain, but this isn't about golf. This is about how you respond to pressure, how you respond to failure, how you respond to adversity. And you're always trying whether it's a team sport or an individual sport, obviously you're trying to get the best version of yourself, and you're working on yourself, whether it's your diet, whether it's your exercise physiology, whether it's in the heat of the moment, playing in more situations where you have opportunities to win something of significance and learning from your mistakes with the adrenaline and all of that. You like watching guys mature and take steps. But I really appreciate anybody who has the kind of candor that in the midst of that cauldron, that pressure, and then having come up short in the moment, nobody's more disappointed than that guy, perhaps maybe his caddy, but nobody's more disappointed than the player to be able to stand there in front of the camera with a smile on your face and say, yeah, wow, you got the best of me. I got quick. When I get nervous, I get quick, and my misses left. And I think you saw I got nervous, and it got quick.
That's a pull hook. It wasn't just one or the other.
But that's what I'm saying. That's good. It's not something. I mean, we all saw it. You can just call it for what it is.
I think the good thing for him is he had a cool down period, because those last 3 or 4 holes, man, you got no shot. You're out of it.
You're out of it.
Done.
Yeah.
You would have to eagle birdie at best. And the moment that Eagle's out of play on 16. You got 45 minutes just to understand what happened to you and get ready for the next thing. Whereas old Fitzpatrick, with his post-round interview, it was curt, it was short, but it was understandable because you had a putt to force the playoff right there at the end and you miss it. He hadn't had time to let his emotions settle. He also went out and got it and just didn't finish. Whereas Ludwig kind of understood, man.
Oh, yeah. I imploded.
You got some time to cool off.
Cam Young, for the rest of his life, no matter what happens in his career, will have the drive on the 18th that you can say, without it being hyperbole, in the situation, given what's on the line, arguably the greatest drive I have ever witnessed from somebody trying to close out a tournament. 375 yards. If you walked up and placed it, you could not have put it anywhere else on the course to be a better spot.
It's me watching my nephew play the video game. Like, man, would you play a realistic mode?
Yeah.
This is easy mode.
Yeah, people don't hit drives 375 to the right side of the fairway, giving them the perfect look into the hole. Come on.
And you'll see 375 in the Open Championship because it's just brown terrain and it runs for days. Or you'll see it in the desert, or you'll see it like the old tournament in Austin, Texas. Remember the match play? They got the one par 5 in the back 9 straight down the hill. Like, dudes routinely hit it 4 bills because it just goes and goes and goes. That track, that hole had, double bogeys left and right on it all day long. People blew it all day long. That is a skinny runway to hit that golf ball, and you wouldn't blame him for hitting one 220 as long as it was in the fairway.
Yeah.
And he went 150 farther.
Ripped it. And, well, remember, he teed off first. So you can't tell me in that moment when you do that you didn't just put unbelievable amounts of pressure on Fitzpatrick in that moment. Like, really, sir? You're going to throw 375 out there?
He's even keel, and that's the way he comports himself, Cam Young. But I got to imagine internally he's shaking a little bit because of the magnitude of the shot he hit and the putt that he hit afterwards to birdie the 17th, and then to have the crowd roar the way it did. That's a Tiger roar. They were nuts for him on the 17th. So you have all of this adrenaline coursing through your body to be able to control that, man.
I think if you're Fitzpatrick, you gotta think to yourself, I had a great shot on 17, and this son of a bitch hits one over me. In that moment, hits an even better shot, and then that is a slippery 9-footer that he makes for birdie. And Cam's had big putts in his career that he's missed, where it would have been the difference between forcing a playoff or winning a tournament.
It's all the putter.
It's always been. And so for him to make that putt, center of the hole, and then to go hit that drive on 18, that's insane. It's truly, it's unbelievable. It's taking a massive step.
He had his screw up on the 16th because he duck hooks the second one. He's indecisive. He doesn't know what club to hit. And you can tell between he and his caddy, they had the exchange on NBC. And you hear him go, "No, I'm okay." Like, that's how they settle on the shot that he's about to hit.
Right.
I go, "No, you're not. That is not I'm okay. I can hit this shot." And he hits it into the trees 60 yards short of the green, and it plugs in the bunker. That was his big screw up, but thankfully for him, Fitzpatrick went in the trees off the tee.
Yep.
So it's not like you're pacing behind. You come out of there with par. All right, you just had your panic moment. You got past it, and let's just go hit the shot.
Saw a lot of guys. It's that course. Obviously, the margin for error is so small. You see a lot of guys having to scramble, and you see we already know every aspect of their game. How good these players are. But when you watch a guy behind trees in the pine straw and way offline, 40, 50 yards offline because they're scared to death to go in the water, and then you see guys. It happened all week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Guys were salvaging pars from impossible spots. Minwoo Lee, I told you about that on Friday when we were on the air. It was nuts. Over and over again, you saw guys make shots. Okay. Yeah, I forgot how good you guys are. That's an insane shot. So you're going to hit that little cut buttery fade from behind a tree out of the sand to within 12 feet. That's what we're doing. It would hurt your soul if you were playing, a little money game with a buddy and somebody pulled that shot out.
No, I've seen it. I've had some dudes pull off some
unholy come on,
stuff.
Man.
I got stories. I don't think people care about it on the air, but I've got some stories that still stick in my craw. Really? You're that guy for that shot? You're never that guy, but for that shot you are. Okay. All right. More power to you.
It's one thing when somebody holes out and you both smile and you're like, all right, because it happens and you get unlucky, but shot shaping like that. Shannon Young made a move. Told you that a while ago to be part of the nation's largest mortgage company with Cross Country Mortgage. But here's the deal with Shannon, man. I can tell you those statistics, and I can tell you that you get better rates with them, better options, stronger support, and a faster response. He's in 7 states, by the way, Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. But I vouch for Shannon because he is a really hard worker, very good at his job, incredibly grounded and ethical, 20-plus years of experience. He's goal-oriented. He's relentless. And we've had a bunch of our listeners reach out to us and reach out to Shannon and say, hey, I heard you on Cameron's show, so I'm in the market to buy a house, and let's see what you can do. And it's worked. So that unwavering commitment and strong will to get it done. It has worked for a lot of our listeners. Loansforknowles.com. That is loansforknowles.com.
We have a stand-in for Matt Millar in the chat who wanted to weigh in regarding the 1 pound.
James wants us to know that he sold 3 pounds a week in high school in the 90s. It ain't much. James was doing some things.
Do you know Matt Millar, James? Did you guys ever do business?
That is impressive. James just comes up in the chain. Nobody can see me. Don't worry about me.
Statute of limitations, man.
Yeah, forget about it.
It's legal now.
Well,
Basically.
it didn't, James, I feel like that. It didn't seem like it was a lot. That's why I was shocked that I was kind of shocked that it was an arrest to begin with. I mean, first of all, we don't see that much anymore because you can just get weed legally.
It was a throwback topic. I didn't see the arrest or the story about the arrest, so I was wondering what you were referring to. Yeah, man, that's something we used to worry about every offseason. Let's hope that guys, was it misdemeanor possession or was it felony intent? That was the whole thing.
Yeah, we were always looking at that's possession because I would say to Millar, is that possession or is that intent to sell? And he's like, well, did they find a scale? No, they didn't find a scale. Okay, that'll help him. No scale.
That's a good start.
Yeah, okay, that's a good start. Well, that'd be a lot to smoke by yourself, but I do know some guys that can, so
Look in the mirror.
It's going to be close. Know some guys, do you? Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Hot Wheels fans, are you ready? The world's biggest Hot Wheels Monster Truck Show is coming to your town. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live, Glow and Fire. See the world-famous Bigfoot, Tiger Shark, Bone Shaker, and the premiere of Rhino-Mite. Epic monster truck stunts, a no-handed freestyle motocross front flip, a giant fire-breathing robot, and more wows than ever before. Meet the monster trucks up close at the all-new pre-show party. Coming April 11th and 12th to Donald L. Tucker Civic Center in Tallahassee. Get tickets now.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. All right, folks, if you're looking for a good excuse to play Seminole Legacy Golf Course and feel good about it, I've got one for you. Proud to be part of the FICW Golf Invitational coming up April the 13th at Seminole Legacy Golf Club here in Tallahassee. It's a Monday, which, let's be honest, perfect day to have a meeting on the course, if you will. Check-in starts at 8:30, shotgun at 10. They'll feed you. There's putting challenge, awards, silent auction, oh, kit and caboodle. The tournament supports education and training for child welfare workers across the state of Florida, and part of the proceeds go right here locally to the Oasis Center for Women and Girls. So you're playing golf, but you're also doing some good. It's $300 for an individual, $1,100 for a foursome. Grab your guys, grab clients of yours, and just come out and play. We're proud to sponsor it. I'd love to see some familiar faces out there. Tom and myself will be playing in this thing too, alongside PGA professionals Tom Shea and Jane Geddes, FSU Hall of Fame legend Jane Geddes. So come join us and have a good time for a great cause. You can register at ficw.fsu.edu/golf. April the 13th, the first ever Florida Institute for Child Welfare Golf Tournament. We'll see you there.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon, there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials, too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Your sports
Sports Flash Update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
The NCAA men's basketball tournament field being announced. Florida is a 1 seed. They are going to take on the winner of the first 4 game between Prairie View A&M and Lehigh. That game is going to be coming up on Friday in Tampa. Central Florida basketball getting that large bid as they go in as a 10 seed. They'll take on a 7 seed UCLA. They are matched up in Philadelphia. That game's going to be coming up on Friday. Miami basketball, a 7 seed in the West Regional. They'll take on the 10 seed Missouri. Again, it's being played in St. Louis. And South Florida basketball, after winning the conference championship, they're the 11th seed in the East. They'll take on the 6th seed Louisville Thursday in Buffalo. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
St. Patty's Day's here, so come and see. Total Wine and More's the place to be. Cabernet Smooth or Guinness Tall. We've got the best. Come grab it all. A Chardonnay crisp and bright or Sauvignon Blanc pure delight. Not sure yet? Don't fret or fear. Our friendly guides will bring good cheer. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'll respond to you here, Mr. Perez, in the chat. Yeah, Florida State did respond overwhelmingly so in the series. I don't know that was wrong. I said they were going to face great pitching, and if they didn't play better than they did against Florida, they would be overwhelmed again. So they did. I don't think I was wrong. Florida State handled Wake Forest pitching staff, which coming in, and I think you'll see as the season moves on, is extremely well thought of. But that doesn't mean they can't be beaten, and doesn't mean that Florida State can't respond. And Florida State did respond after being completely overwhelmed by Florida's gluttony of riches there. I'll tell you what, man, just the arms that they rolled out against us, 98, 99, 98, 99 over and over again. But Florida State pounded Wake in that first game, and that was as a good a response as you could ever hope to see. But you're allowed to do that. So it's nice that they did. And then obviously there was great pitching for two starters, Beard and a kid for Wake on Saturday, who I did talk up about him, and he was really good. Luckily, we were better, 2-0. And then obviously yesterday, you go on the road and beat somebody 24-6 in 3 games. That's doing some things. That's a good team that Florida State pounded.
Yeah, on Saturday, that game was in the 5th inning within an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was flying by. Nobody was getting on base. And that creates its own unique pressure. Not saying that Wes Mendes wasn't awesome, because of course he was. But when you have to answer, there's a shutdown inning, and then there's also the response inning to your opponent that's also on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own little headspace that I have no idea how pitchers comport themselves, but I'm sure it happens all the time in the big leagues because aces often line up against aces. You know that you've got to buckle down because the other guy on the hill is a Cy Young candidate. And how you do that, go back and forth, trade zeros for zeros, creates its own pressure. That's where Beard was awesome.
14 Ks, a career high, and 6 2/3 scoreless. Abraham 2 1/3 scoreless for the save was spectacular. Shmela hit a home run in that game. It was the second straight game that he hit a home run. He has taken the catcher's job. And, you got to go back. You got a lot of guys that you can be excited about right now. Eli Putnam's one of them that I'm excited to continue to watch play. And I think you see a lineup now. I talked about I like that lineup from yesterday. Dowd, Putnam, Bailey, DeLamielleure, Polino, Shmela, Bavaro, Fisher, Stutz. And Stutz hits a opposite field grand slam. Obviously, we're going to see how he adjusts to the better pitching, but that's a good start. And Bryson Moore had a good outing. Obviously, that was huge. Florida State, you come off that Florida game, and I talked about that game. I was angry about that game because it followed a script that we've seen too many times down in Gainesville, where we get an early lead, and then Florida comes back to take the lead, and then they roll out dominant arm after dominant arm, not the kind of guys that we routinely have as options out of our bullpen, so you're left feeling lesser than and angry. A loss happens. You're playing another good team. Sometimes it can happen. It's baseball. Wasn't mad that the loss was the loss, but rather the way that it looked. And all I did was warn that you were about to run into 3 really good arms for Wake Forest. And if you didn't respond, this could have been. And I asked aloud the question, would it be a sobering week of baseball for Florida State on the heels of the loss to Florida? Had they not done what they did, the answer would have been yes, but they didn't manifest that poor play and poor AB after poor AB after poor AB that they did against Florida. They didn't do that against Wake Forest. Instead, they responded with dominance. That is fun to watch. It's a step forward. It's a belief now that, look, you're undefeated in the ACC. What are you, 16-3 through 19 games? This is as good a start as you could hope for. Yeah,
they're on the right track. I think what'll be interesting to watch is if you get into a weekend series and Mendes isn't great, or he has to run up a ton of pitches because of high stress innings, and the game is close, but you got to get into the bullpen and Abraham needs to come in 5th inning, 6th inning, something like that. And there's a trickle-down effect for the weekend. Can you cultivate more answers? Because we played from in front this weekend. I mean, you got a 7-inning complete game because of the run rule. I mean, that's our best friend on Friday night. And then Saturday, that means you can slot Abraham right behind Beard. I mean, that's how you draw it up. So what happens when there's a little bit of discomfort, because it's a good series. It could be 5-5 in the 6th inning on Friday night, but that means that you got to go get Abraham and you spend him. Saturday, it's all on Beard and who's the next guy. That's what I'm looking to learn. I now know that if we're out in front, man, we're going to go run and hide from you. Can you cultivate some answers if it doesn't go perfectly to plan in game 1 of a weekend series?
You know, what's cool is before the season began, Wes Mendes had told people that, you know, look, I know that I got to take another step forward. I got to both mature, but I also got to be really dependable as the ace. And he had seen Jamie Arnold do it. You know, he had watched Arnold before him, and as he was in the rotation, and he admired the way that Arnold took on that responsibility, the way he handled his business, the way that even when he had, you know, let's say a setback, he did not let it turn into a second or third or fourth bad start, but rather kind of gathered himself and understood. And just the role of an ace is what I'm describing, the role of being an ace. And Mendes wanted that challenge, wanted to create that and be that for this team. Well, if you think about what he's done, he's got 5 wins. I mean, in his last 5 starts, he's got 5 wins, okay? He goes 7 innings on the road against Wake. You lost earlier in the week against Florida in really bitterly disappointing fashion, right? Now, you don't want this to turn into a thing. You know you're facing a team that also has very live arms. And so you got to do your part to keep your team in it. Now, you can't know that you're going to go up there and drop 10 on them. But he goes out and pitches 7 innings, gives up all of 2 hits, and Ks 11. No earned runs, 100 pitches. Pure domination on the road. He's given up in 28 2/3 innings pitched. He has an ERA of 0.63. Back-to-back starts with double-digit strikeouts. He's given up 2 earned runs in that 28 2/3. I mean, that is dominant, filthy stuff from him. Good for him.
Yeah, honestly, you could say the shakiest out he might have been the season opener when he was in trouble quite a bit, but he pitched out of it. And he's done it in different environments. At home, you already know that he can be great. You've already seen that even before the season began. But that tournament out in Dallas when they played against Michigan, that game was close for a little while, and that's a sterile environment. That's a weird one. You got to bring your own energy for a situation like that. Even though you're in a major league ballpark, so that's cool, it's still more like the NFL Combine than it is a college football Friday night start that you typically make. Noon as well, so your body clock is all messed up. And on the road now at Wake Forest. Is that a great atmosphere? No, but is that a live opponent with all the circumstances you're talking about? You prepare during the week. You just lost to Florida. You know that they've got good arms. So there's a lot of pressure on you, and you're away from home. So you're able to handle many different situations. Wes Mendes has been. He gave you already last year the postseason, Wes, who was right up in the grill of Mississippi State. But he's passed a lot of different tests that require mental fortitude in different ways. So, yeah, I mean, as good as you can be right now through one ACC series, he's been. NC State comes to town. Here's another test on Friday.
Well, and then to have on the heels of that, Trey Beard go out and strike out 14 6 2/3. Wake had to be like, what is going on? Wake was feeling like we felt against Florida. They're like, this is unbelievable. We can't sniff this pitching. I mean, if you're Wake Forest, you're hosting this series, ranked on rank, you're excited as hell. You get beat up in the game, first game, 10-0. It happens. Good teams beat you. Okay. You think, all right, let's go get them today. Well, in 2 full games of baseball, you walk off that field, you have a grand total of 3 hits and both pitchers double-digit Ks. You're getting absolutely manhandled by Florida State pitching at that point. That has to be, I mean, if we're doing this show there's one of those sobering conversations that we had after the Florida game.
I'm talking about Demon Deacons football. This is what you're talking about on Monday. You're not focusing on baseball whatsoever.
Oh, man. So cool to see. And again, we go back to the start of the season where they had that many unanswered questions. It's kind of rare to have that many unanswered questions in the field. Link doesn't like that. He likes to know what guys are. And
he was willing to tell the world, though.
Right.
Guys, I don't know.
Right.
I might tweak this thing during the season. Yeah, that he does not. He wants to have those answers on opening night.
So think about it. You could have never guessed that Schmelo would be your starting catcher right now. And they're not going to declare that per se, but it's pretty obvious what's happening.
He's earned
there.
another start.
Well, just going to keep on keeping on. And you still are juggling, but you have a lot of nice answers and few that you didn't expect to get. I mean, I don't know that they thought Will Bavaro was going to be anything this year. Pretty amazing. You don't know how fast. I mean, he had high praise for John Stutzer, but you can't know what a true freshman who wasn't even a full-time baseball player prior to getting here. You don't know how quickly he's going to adapt and adjust, and how quickly he can get up to speed. Now, again, it's a work in progress with him, but it's so far so good. They weren't even sure. They wanted to believe, obviously, that Noah Sheffield would hit, but they weren't real sure. He was kind of a positionless player as well.
100%.
But now he's hitting. He
was a pinch hitter on opening night.
Yeah, he's hit since day one. He's hit. Meaning this year. The year started, he's hitting. And he just keeps on hitting. So, yeah, they're finding answers, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. And you're right. I think they got to cultivate more answers out of the pen, but your starting rotation is starting to look very, very good. Your long relief in Abraham looks really, really good. You got some things going for you.
So, snapshot, I already gave you the week ahead. You got Bethune tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, followed by NC State, 6 p.m., 2 p.m., 1 p.m. this weekend at home. You then go to the baseball grounds next Tuesday. You get another crack at Florida, perhaps feeling a little bit better about yourself if you continue down this path.
I want that crack at Florida, yes.
That is a 6 p.m. start, and it's on SEC Network Plus, so we don't have to struggle. Some years we struggle. There is no feed. You just, you're radio only. So you got a video feed for next Tuesday. Then we host Duke here again next weekend. So back-to-back home ACC series. Good tests. This will be good to see about the depth of what they were looking at. Last week we talked about with a 5-game slate that you're going to give a lot of at-bats to non-traditional or guys that weren't figuring in to be day-to-day. And look at how it worked out last week. We are talking about Shmela. We are talking about a lot of the younger players that are cracking this lineup, and on a day-to-day basis, they're dealing for you between Paulino and Bavaro and others. What will it be 2 weeks from now when you're talking about the pitching rotation or the staff? Hopefully you can have another guy behind Abraham that is your second, he's our guy behind Beard on Saturday. So it goes Mendes, Abraham, Beard, and
this guy, whoever it is.
And this week can help determine that.
Well, they still got time for guys to emerge, but that was as I said before, a resounding answer from a team that looked overwhelmed and overmatched earlier in the week against Florida, at least from the hitter standpoint. That was an ugly scene. You can't have that many strikeouts. You can't look that bad. You couldn't have looked more impotent against Florida pitching than you did after the early start where you got a couple runs early. That felt good, but then obviously it was just one K after the other.
At least as a head coach, it gives you the excuse, though, to shake it up if you want to. I mean, there's further proof. It's like, well, I mean, you tell me, should you play or should you not? Now, my guy Brody D did not have that great of a weekend, but it's okay. They didn't need him to have a great weekend. You got to slot all these things out, but Tuesday night's performance and some of these performances they've had, they give Link all the ammunition in the world that I don't have to hang on and keep starting you like perhaps a certain catcher kept starting last year that drove you nuts.
Oh, buddy.
Link will be quick to punch guy here because these dudes don't have those bona fides, and that's fine.
That was tough last year. I had to really exercise patience with that situation at catcher last year.
Yeah, 40-year-old you wouldn't have done well with that.
I didn't do great. I had plenty of things.
You still have, but I mean, really.
Yeah, I kept it.
The guy I knew at the AM dial would not handle that well. There might have been some decibel counts there.
You're saying I might have crossed the line into personal? Might have gotten.
I might have.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah. There are many former players who remember that. Yeah, who we would see later on. Like, jeez, buddy.
Man, there were days I'd say, I wish Matt was producing today. Man, this is uncomfortable. This guy, he's going after him.
It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. I think we're going to track down our buddy Irash Fell in a moment and get some thoughts from him as well. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio.
From the team behind Mac and More Systems comes IOWise, Tallahassee's trusted source for IT services. Protect your business with 24/7 cybersecurity, managed IT support, cloud storage solutions, network design, voice over IP phone systems, expert tech counseling, and more. Whether your business is growing fast or just getting started, IOWise keeps your systems running smoothly and securely. Local service, big solutions. Visit iowise.com today and work wiser with IOWise.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
This is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. You've probably heard the saying, marry the house, date the rate. Here's what that means. If you love the home, do not wait on the perfect interest rate. You can always refinance later, and I can help you plan for that from day one. In fact, a lot of homeowners I worked with last year are refinancing right now and saving hundreds each month. Others are using the equity in their homes to invest, buying second homes or rental properties that are already building wealth. So whether you're looking to lower your monthly payment, get cash out, or start an investment portfolio, let's talk strategy. I'll walk you through your options and find the smartest financial move for where you are right now. You can find me at loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com. You can reach me at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, and I want to help give you the keys to your next opportunity.
All right, folks, if you're looking for a good excuse to play Seminole Legacy Golf Course and feel good about it, I've got one for you. Proud to be part of the FICW Golf Invitational coming up April the 13th at Seminole Legacy Golf Club here in Tallahassee. It's a Monday, which, let's be honest, perfect day to have a meeting on the course, if you will. Check-in starts at 8:30, shotgun at 10. They'll feed you. There's putting challenge, awards, silent auction, oh, kit and caboodle. The tournament supports education and training for child welfare workers across the state of Florida, and part of the proceeds go right here locally to the Oasis Center for women and girls. So you're playing golf, but you're also doing some good. It's $300 for an individual, $1,100 for a foursome. Grab your guys, grab clients of yours, and just come out and play. We're proud to sponsor it. I'd love to see some familiar faces out there. Tom and myself will be playing in this thing too, alongside PGA professionals Tom Shea and Jane Geddes, FSU Hall of Fame legend Jane Geddes. So come join us and have a good time for a great cause. You can register at ficw.fsu.edu/golf. April the 13th, the first ever Florida Institute for Child Welfare Golf Tournament. We'll see you there.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
By the way, didn't mention it earlier, but for the ACC tournament, meaning basketball, Florida State did get 2 players voted into the all-tournament team. Robert McCray, the 5th, getting in for Florida State as a first-teamer. Very, very nicely done. And Lejeay Jones, second team for Florida State. Obviously, we know that Florida State declined the bid to play in the NIT, so they'll go out and hopefully get a jump on the transfer portal so they can fill out the roster for next season. We talked some about that. I'll bring that up to Ira. Also want to point out, Tom, it was announced during the coverage of the ACC tournament finals that Chuck Walsh retiring as the FSU basketball SID after 26 years.
Is that right?
So Chuck and I go back for all 26 years of his time here. I was on the air when he got here. He'd formerly worked with Gary Williams at Maryland. And I remember when he got here, and I remember one of the first conversations I ever had with Chuck was we were trying to get the res zone up and running there for Steve Robinson when he became the coach. We would do the basketball note of the day, and he was a good sport about it. Obviously, I was firmly tongue-in-cheek making fun of the basketball program's ineptitude as we did the basketball note of the day, and he would send me emails, ask o'clock in the morning. That's how far back this goes. I was doing mornings, and he sent me an email with something positive that Florida State had accomplished. Sometimes it would be as insignificant as fewer than 10 turnovers, but it would be something. It would be something. And Chuck was always great for that and has been a good sport all these years. So congratulations, Chuck, on your retirement. 26 years, a long time at FSU to be the SID, and I hope whatever it is you're going to do next, you have a great time. It could just be relaxing. I don't know.
A lot of ups in that tenure of 26 years, more ups than we had a right to expect, I think, at Florida State, really, with the amount of resources necessary. But that's cool. Chuck and I share a birthday, too.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, his birthday is in October.
You need to do the portal sound according to the listeners. I just checked the chat. I used to get mad when you didn't do that according to one of them. The portal sound, I did make a reference to them getting a jump on the portal. Thank you. That was a really good one. I think there was real gusto in that portal.
There was. It was nostalgia. I missed it.
Well, look, man.
The problem is the portal is so ever present, though, that I can't be doing it 50 times a show. But I can give you one or two. That sounded like your impression of Cajun people. It's the same thing.
Oh, Lord. That's a good one.
Hey, I've stockpiled a bunch of portal sounds over the years.
No, Dad says that's not a portal sound. Mine. That
might be the kind of thing that gets you thrown out of homeroom.
It's not a portal sound. Tom's got the portal sound down. I do not.
I don't know. I'm not sure. No, I don't think that's good. I mean, there's a lot of nightmares now for people.
Well, look, you're going to have to do the portal a lot because we have, the 5 seniors who were part of the 8-man rotation are the ones who voted us not to play in it. So I'm going to have to say portal a lot because we're kind of replaced those 5 seniors.
Well, no, I just patched Ira through. I was in like hello Ira mode and had putting the phone over.
Yeah, it's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right,
much better than my portal, which I don't know. That just sounds like mine sounds like a serial killer. I don't even know.
No, I'm. That is nightmare fuel.
Let's go talk to our buddy Ira. Ira Shafel, Warchant.com, joins us as he does every Monday. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'll admit I was not listening before Tom called, so I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm glad to be here, Jeff.
We were making portal sounds. Tom does a portal sound whenever I bring up the portal, and then he does this little, and I tried to mimic it, but I can't do it. And so
he cannot do it, Ira. Please do not let him ever do that.
I can't do it. Anyhow, how are you, brother? You doing all right? That was fun. One of you guys homered for us last night. There you go.
Gunner came through, and your guy Skeens, he muddled a little bit.
Yeah,
through it. It looked okay.
We're used to him being so dominant that if he goes 4 2/3 and gives up a run against a fully stacked lineup, we're all like, oh. Yeah, scuffling out here just a bit. Hey, I liked your piece on Andre Otto over there on Warchant.com. Go read it, everybody, because I like Andre Otto, and I want him to be the best version of himself. And as you wrote, it sounds like he's got no excuses now. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm curious about him. I'm not going to say I wrote him off, but I kind of wrote him off a little bit.
You wrote him off. Go ahead. You can say it. You wrote him off.
He did, he got to start a couple games a couple years ago and, wasn't ready. He was a redshirt freshman. And then last year, you bring in the 5 transfers and, he really doesn't get to play much. And it looked like maybe he might transfer out or it just doesn't look like it was going to happen. But, they really, sounds like Herb Hand really went to him and said, listen, man, you could be a team captain kind of guy. That's his quote. He said, we think he could be a team captain kind of guy on this team. And if you're saying that, if you're Herb Hand, you not only believe in him as a person, but you believe in him as a player, because you can't be a team captain if you're not playing. And, you looked at the transfers they brought in, and, there's a chance for him to win a starting job at offensive guard. Now, whether or not he does that, I think he'll have competition. But if he does, that would be a huge win for Mike Norvell, because they have not had any, certainly not many, but barely any offensive linemen come through this program and win a starting job. So it would be cool for, I think, FSU if he does that.
When was the last time you went on a stretch of 3 months without eating ice cream?
Dude, that's a tough call. Probably not often, if ever. And Andre Otto says he's done it. And the great thing about that was we tweeted a video of him saying that. And then Jaden, the nutritionist for FSU football, actually retweeted it and said, I can vouch he has gone 3 months without eating ice cream, and she would know. She tracks those guys, everything they eat. And unless he's snuck any, and I guess he's lost like 15 pounds since last season. So, yeah, man, I think Andre Otto means business.
I don't think I could go 3 months without eating ice cream. I'm not a sweets guy, but I love ice cream. I'm going to partake. It's just too good. How do you not have a bite of ice cream along the way? I get why he did it. He's trying to lose weight, but come on.
What's your favorite flavor, Jeff?
Chocolate peanut butter.
All right.
You're not enamored with.
I like it. I like the peanut butter. I like the chocolate. My ultimate is the cherry Garcia.
That's very good.
But basically cherry and chocolate chips, that combination. Because when I was a kid, Jeff, my dad would take me to the horse track in Miami.
Which I love that about him.
And there was an ice cream stand at the racetrack that had, you could get 2 scoops, and I would get cherry on one side, vanilla with cherries, and then chocolate chip on the other side. And the cherry Garcia gets me close to that. So there's some nostalgia there as well.
Have you had, this is free advertising, have you had the Publix premium brand chocolate chip cherry, black cherry ice cream?
I have, yeah.
It's
quality.
It's quality. It's a very good ice cream. I agree with you. We're on the same page with that one. Hey, what'd you make of the football team when you got a chance to go out there Friday? I obviously was not there, so I'm deferring to you. Anything that stood out?
I don't know that anything stood out. I mean, I was kind of drawn to some of the new assistant coaches. I mean, I'm sure Tom's talked about it too, but, I thought the Nick Williams, the young defensive ends coach, you like kind of the energy he brings. He kind of, again, adds just a little bit of spice to the defensive coaching staff. And then on the offensive side, I was really impressed with Cam Martin, the running backs coach, not because he's just a big energy guy, but also, just it looked like he was, pretty active in terms of attention to detail. We were only in there for 20, 25 minutes, but I like what I saw out of him. As far as the overall players, I was pretty impressed by the offensive line size. And I think, I know Tom mentioned that on our message boards as well. But they brought in some guys that got some real size. I mean, and I don't know how many of them, clearly the 5 transfers they brought in are going to play a lot. But some of the other, the freshmen, and some of the junior college transfer, they brought in some guys with some size on the offensive line. Now, we didn't get to see what they look like in terms of competition because we didn't get to see them go up against the defensive line really. But there's some size on that offensive line. And then, I do think, it just kind of hits you again when you see that running back room, Trey Wisner, Usman Kromah, Sam Singleton. I mean, there's some talent in that running back room. So, I didn't see anything that concerned me. And I do think that, there's some talent on this team, man. It's all going to come down to quarterback, obviously. And we didn't get to see enough out of that position to know whether or not, Ashton Daniels is going to be good enough or not.
To echo your point about the offensive line, if you just kind of project a little bit from guys they brought in, or if you want to throw Andre Otto, since we just talked about him in a guard as well, you're talking about 6'8", 354, 6'5", 315, 6'2", 328, 6'7", 315, and 6'5", 309. That's a big group.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and they've got several other guys as well that are huge dudes. So yeah, that and there have been times where, when Florida State's not been good on the offensive line, where you look like they're just not big enough. Well, these guys are big enough. We'll have to see if they're good enough and if they can move enough. But there's definitely size there. And, and again, I think I was talking to somebody earlier today just about, we just kind of assume that Herb Hand will be able to do what he did last year with this group, and we don't know. We'll have to see. So that's still going to be a question mark going into the season. But if he can, I do like the pieces on this offense. I mean, I just, again, you talk about the receiving core, the running backs, the tight end. There's a lot of nice things there to work with.
God, it's just so I want to find some of that enthusiasm. I need to find this at some point this offseason, because we always do it, even if we don't think necessarily that they're going to be great. We find something, an aspect of the team, and you have repeatedly stated you think that the offense is going to be pretty good. I hope you're right, man. I want to feel a measure of that hope, because what I worry about is that if they're average offensively, this is going to be a long year, because neither of us think that defense is going to be great.
No, I definitely don't think it's going to be great. I will say that I was more encouraged after talking to Tony White last week than I have been. Both on camera and then also just chatting with him a little bit. Unless he is just completely selling a bill of goods, he's a used car salesman.
Right.
Believe what he's saying. He seems pretty, I'm not saying confident. He's definitely encouraged. I mean, he likes this group. Again, I think we all have the questions about the defensive line, and we'll have to see if it turns out. But he likes these guys they have, and I think it's really going to come down to whether or not you can take guys that maybe don't have the same pedigree. Because look, in the secondary, you're replacing three safeties in Earl Little, Edwin Joseph. I guess Conrad Hussey was here before, and then he left. But you're replacing some guys that were talented players, and replacing them with guys you brought in from lower level programs. So can they play at that level? We'll see. But I do think that that they like these guys, and it's just going to be whether or not guys that maybe don't have the same pedigree but are more bought in or more team guys, whether or not they can play better. And that's possible. We see it sometimes, but we just have to see. Hey, I thought you were going to ask me about the NIT debate. Where did you come down on that?
Well, I was just about to ask you about the NIT, okay. Buddy. Don't worry. I wasn't going to let you.
I was going to get settled off to get my take.
I understand it. He let the players vote. I got a text yesterday afternoon or morning, whenever it was, and I'd found that out. And I was disappointed because I like the team, so I wanted to see more of them. But I understand it's a senior-led team, and some of these guys have a couple of injuries and procedures they may need to get done before embarking on a pro career. We know in basketball, the timeline's sped up compared to football, so let's say. So I kind of understand it, but it didn't make me less disappointed knowing that here's the reason. Great, but I wanted to see him play. But he let him vote, and they said no. I would have liked to have seen him play.
Yeah, I think most people would. I do think that when you, I wonder how much of it though is how that last game ended, and the fact that they took Duke down to the wire. Because from my standpoint, if they played the NIT, and I had some conversations with some friends yesterday during the day, again, same thing, when I had heard that this is what was going to happen, and I was talking to a couple of friends about it, and they were pretty bummed, and I was like, look, I mean, I get it, but if these guys, if they feel like they left it all out there in that Duke game, and then they have to find the passion again to try to play against whoever it is in the NIT, and then they don't look good, and they don't play hard, like, is that the way you want to remember them? So from that standpoint, man, it's not a bad way to go out. Plus, if I'm Luke Laux and I know he wanted to play in the NIT,
he did, yeah.
It's not a bad product to sell. Like the last time we played, I took a bunch of dudes who not a lot of people wanted. I wasn't winning bidding wars. The last time they played, they took number 1 Duke to the wire with a shot to win it at the buzzer and won 10 of our last 13 games. So, as opposed to if you go play in the NIT and you don't really want to be there and you don't look good, that's not helpful as you go into the portal season. So I'm certainly not bothered as much as a lot of people.
I'm excited to see who they target and who they're able to bring in. We now know that being limited financially is not really the end-all be-all for Florida State. They're able to make do with what he sells, and clearly that's resonating with people, certainly with the incoming freshmen that this class makes up. And also I think he's got, proof in the pudding here with these players and how this turned around, and many of them, I think, elevated their status. So I do think that they've got a chance to bring in veteran players in the front court. They're going to have to bring in. I think they'll also probably bring in a point guard. But, I mean, they got to get some size and some experience to go along with the players that they're bringing in the high school ranks. Because as you and I have talked about, they may be talented, but this is a game played by 22-year-olds these days.
Yeah, and some of the benefits they had from having that older group this year, you wouldn't have if you don't go out and get some mature, experienced guys again. I mean, like the things they did from a scheme standpoint, the changes they would make from game to game, the things they would implement, just the execution on some of the things they ran, out of bounds plays, things like that. It spoke to a senior veteran basketball team. If you try to play a bunch of young guys, a lot of those things are going to be a lot more challenging. So yeah, man, they're going to have to do some work in the portal. But like you said, man, he's last year he was able to sell the NBA resume. I think that helped some of the guys they were able to bring in and connections they had. But yeah, you would think that as they go out and sell, hey, this is how we help this guy improve. This is how we help this guy improve. This is how we put together a team. And then you get to play with those young, talented kids. Yeah, man, I think they have something very attractive to sell. But at the same time, you are going to have to offer some NIL. And so that's going to be a question of how much can Florida State do from that standpoint, because, the teams you want to compete against are going to be spending big money.
Well, you just have Steph Curry fly on in, float around some dollars, hang out a little bit, kind of make him sort of a, I know he's not a Florida State grad, but he could be his guy. He could be his guy. They're going to have to figure it out, because I know the same group that gets asked for the most amount of money is going to get asked again, and they're probably pretty damn tired of it. Be well, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Chef. See you, man.
Take care. Shafel, Warchant.com. Tonight, you guys doing a smash? Tomorrow, is it week off because of the spring break? I don't know.
So we got a week off because of the spring break, but it's not really. We're recording a video this afternoon, and we're releasing it tonight on the channel, where we're talking about what we did see in the open portion, comparing notes, and talking about things like the size of the offensive line, a couple of notes, maybe a couple other position players that we talked about as we were walking off the fields as well.
I want to get your thoughts when we come back. I was not out there Friday. You were on the defensive end coach that he's talking about. Lots of people are talking about him. Listen, he sounds like my kind of guy.
Yes.
There's some what for to this guy.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Multiple car accidents occurred over the weekend. A 76-year-old man is dead after a single vehicle crash in Taylor County on Sunday evening. A pickup truck was traveling north and for unknown reasons went off the road and onto the east shoulder. The driver of the pickup then began to steer the vehicle to the left, causing the truck to rotate. After re-entering the road while continuing to rotate, the man traveled across both lanes and onto the west shoulder before the front of the truck collided with a tree. The driver was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased. And then 2 people were hurt after a single vehicle crash in Wakulla County on Saturday. The crash happened at about 5:30 a.m. Saturday on Smith Creek Road. An 18-year-old man was driving north in a pickup truck when he veered off onto the shoulder. The driver swerved, spun out of control, the car overturned, and he was ejected from the truck. He has serious injuries, but is expected to make a full recovery. The 17-year-old female passenger has minor injuries. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 71 this afternoon under overcast skies with a chance of rain showers. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows around 35 tonight, mainly clear skies. High temperatures reach up to 56 tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 60 degrees.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, gotta get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
All right, partner. I am, as I said, going to glean some insight from you regarding Friday, and let's start with the aforementioned defensive ends coach for Florida State. That, by the way, I don't know. I guess I didn't have high expectations for Nick Williams per se, but
well, he's a recruiter. Is the reputation? He's for sure a recruiter, and you were just wondering. At least I was. Is he here too late to make an impact? Is it too little, too late? But when we first got onto the practice fields, we saw them do some of those agility drills. We joined practice in progress. It wasn't the very beginning where they're playing the war chant and doing the stretch. So we got to see a little bit more. But he was loud. He was in command. He was challenging people as they were going through, once again, what amounted to kind of like tour of duty drills, but with helmets and shoulder pads on. So I think they were trying to get their attention and get them conditioned mentally and physically as they were about to go break out and do position group and combo drills and all that kind of stuff. And he has full command and is not afraid to direct people in the directions they need to go.
Well, he has experience at Georgia and Texas A&M and obviously at Syracuse. So I would assume, those are serious programs, Georgia and Texas A&M. And he had that good year when he was at Syracuse, part of that 10-3 team.
So I'll stop standing on ceremony. When I got in there, I was like, who is that lunatic yelling at the players as I was walking up? Like, oh, okay. Because Ernie was getting after him too. Even Odell from the sidelines, you can still hear him, the voice echoing off of the walls of the new facility and the old one. And it was, who is this new? Oh, that's Nick Williams. Okay, understood. And Tony White setting the tone as well, because there was one drill or one rep where they got maybe 10 guys going through the agility drills. And he's barking at the players, and he's saying, because one guy, bleepity bleeped, everybody fails. Because one guy, and then he challenged the next group and the next group. So I don't know if maybe the first few periods didn't go well, or they just knew that they needed to shock the system, but everybody was paying attention by the end of that sequence. I think that was about one of the middle periods.
I think it's interesting. Ira just said that he felt like in talking to Tony White on and off the record that he had a better feeling about this defense. Now, that is the area that people are going to get tired of me harping on throughout the course of spring into summer as we build up towards the actual season, because I just think they lack depth on the defensive line. And if you lack depth on the defensive line, you get exposed week in and week out in a maddening way. It's a terrible way to lose football games because you do feel powerless to do anything about it. It's one thing when you can hide a player at linebacker or hide a player at corner. It's not ideal, but you can, certain coverages and things you can do to help that player out if they're getting exposed in man, let's say. But if your defensive line is lacking, people are going to run the ball down your throat, and it's emasculating. It is you don't really recover from that. We know, battering people and running the ball at people when they know that you're going to run the ball, when they can't stop it because they're worn out, they're exhausted or depleted with the lack of numbers up front. It's the worst kind of way to lose football games. It doesn't give an offense, which on the other side might be pretty good, even a chance because they can't get on the field. And that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the interior line looks like, because is it a one-man interior or is it a two? Because you got the jack linebacker. Sometimes they'll have straight-up two defensive ends out there. There's multiplicity to what they do.
Sure.
The one position they have, I think, a lot of a defensive line, and I'm not trying to profile it down to a certain technique, but just a body type. The physical edge-setting rush end, they got a lot of those. Like both Desir twins are large. Diggs is large.
Get after the passer.
Well, Ryland Kennedy has what I would say, he's leaner up top. You would call him small up top. You would, for sure. But he's not a small guy, and the frame is pretty big. And some of the coaches seem to be thinking that he's explosive and he can get where he needs to go, but I just don't know early downs. He might be a specialist, but he's got a frame on him that, say, James Williams didn't have, for example. Like, the listing of the 260 still bugs me to this day. He's not here anymore, but it still kind of bothers me. The frame that Kennedy is working with is larger, so that's a good thing. And the lower half is pretty big, but upper body he's a little bit smaller, built for speed and built for finesse.
Well, again, if you can't stop the run and you can't get after the passer, it's going to be a long year. So they're going to need somebody to emerge on both accounts.
Juju is in a weird spot too, because he has lost some weight, but he was wearing like the sweatshirt underneath the jersey, and I don't know. It looked like there was still some conditioning needed a little bit. I'm not sure. And I even put this in the board post. I said, man, I could be wrong, because anybody that follows Darryl Jackson is just not going to look like Darryl Jackson.
No, nobody, not many people on earth look like Darryl Jackson.
It's probably unfair on my part, but I was looking at him thinking, all right, Juju, let's get some conditioning going here.
Well, what do you mean, frumpy or not big enough? What do you mean?
No, I mean, it looked frumpy to me.
Okay.
But Darryl Jackson was a Mack truck of an interior guy. This might be just kind of that plugger up the middle body type that you need from Juju Wynn. Daniel Lyons, for example, is not that way. Daniel is more svelte for the position he's going to play.
Yeah, I would tell you about Kevin Wynn, Juju Wynn, that, I mean, they need him to be a guy. He's got to be a really good player for them and consistent. So you can't know whether or not he's capable, because he had one tackle last year. He was limited by injury. There's nothing you can do. But, we know how they were singing the praises. His fellow players were singing the praises of Kevin Wynn before the season started at the ACC kickoff. I mean, that came up more than once. So there must be something there.
Hey, and look, yes, if they're telling you that he's country strong, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp wasn't exactly Darryl Jackson
Right.
in terms of appearance, but Warren could play. I mean, he was frumpy looking.
Hall of Famer, yeah.
But I mean, the strength, it didn't beget the look.
Right.
It didn't fit
At all.
That was what was wild about him. So it doesn't mean that he's not going to be fine, but I'm like, man, Darryl spoils you a little bit. So did Braden Fisk, too.
Well, yeah, he was really, really good. What did you make of Chris Jones? That's the guy that looks the part, and I'm excited about, a linebacker that looks the part. We haven't had one in a while, not consistently anyhow. And I obviously, what the question's going to be with him is, can he cover? Because he was exposed some in coverage, but he was a tackling machine.
I can see why. The body type is for real. I mean, you're just like, yep. There are a few guys that you look around on the roster, and not as many as there should be, I grant you, but where you go just by looking at him, yep, that's right, exactly what you should be.
Supposed to be.
The Desirs look that way.
Yeah, they do.
Like, yep. And Paul Bowling, the offensive lineman, that's what Ira was alluding to. That dude, I don't know that he could fit through the doorway. He's so wide. Yes. I looked at a couple of guys and thought, yes, that is the way it's supposed to look. But Chris Jones is one of them. I thought Bayor was pretty on the hoof, just pretty impressive looking. He's wearing 28 this year for Florida State at linebacker. Yeah, there were enough dudes, even in the secondary too, that you look around, like Ashlyn Barker looks to be in tip-top shape again, and he was already a thumping style kind of safety rover player. There's a few players scattered about. The defensive interior is going to be the concern, but, man, they've got a lot of guys that they can rotate in and out to play those defensive end or edge rusher positions. That's for sure.
Paul Bowling, by the way, Marietta, Georgia, 6'3", 315.
Something about the width. It's just a low base, man. Like, wow. Like at 6'3" is kind of surprising to me. It feels like he's shorter just because he's dense, and that's exactly what you want from an interior guy who played all the games, all 12 games as a freshman last season.
I think the reason that I'm just lukewarm on everything is, I mean, we're not going to get access to these scrimmages, so we can't really know. We're just judging body types right now. It's
Correct.
tough. And, you don't trust this group. And I don't mean the players. You just don't trust this coaching staff. So it's going to be really hard. I mean, trying to get that enthusiasm that I spoke of a moment ago with Ira for any aspect of this football program is just tough to create right now.
Yeah, what I'm going to have to look at next time is the offense, because we get one more availability in, I think it's around like the 9th of April, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take a look at the offense because I was with linebackers, defensive line, and defensive backs last week. And, I mean, there were some things that you could learn, but a lot of those drills relative to the offense are kind of positioned in the middle of the field. There's a little bit of distance there. You can't hear the instruction all that well. There was a period where I could hear everything that Ernie Sims said as linebackers coach. God, I love the way he coaches. He is way different than when he was an assistant, I guarantee you, or like John Papuchis' understudy when he was just looking at dummies and how to tackle dummies. He will go through the drill himself, and he can still fly. He can still absolutely fly.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was a freak of nature. Always was. Body type, strength. I mean, he was the number 1 recruit in the country. And, you've shook his hand.
Correct. Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah.
I hosted a show with him.
Yeah.
There is no mistaking his instruction as well. There's a bite to it, which is great.
Hopefully it leads to some toughness that just hasn't been there at linebacker. It's so frustrating. I mean, Florida State should never be at a place where they're just bereft of any sort of hope at linebacker. It should never be that way.
There's a whole lot of, as one might imagine, there's a whole lot of cross-training at O-line as well. Walking out, you could see the groupings are not like all the transfers are together and then all the holdovers are together. They're mixing it up.
Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
This St. Patrick's Day.